All right, brother. State your name. Introduce yourself a little bit.
My name is Chris Montalvo. Everybody here calls me Montalvo. I don't know how else to introduce myself.
That's pretty good. What are you, brown belt, I see?
I'm a brown belt,
Yeah.
3-stripe brown belt, under Damian Hertz and Felipe Perepau.
Yeah. This is not where you started originally, I'm gleaning, okay?
I started
give me the story, and then we'll jump into what we're really wanting to hear about here.
Okay. I started Jiu-Jitsu back in 2012, and that's when I was probably about 350 pounds. That's when I was in my fat life, my real fat life. I'm still in fat life, but I'm in more of a healthier fat life. And
high calorie life, not fat
high
life,
calorie life. You know, we want to be positive.
Yeah, spin it.
So, my first professor, he owns a jiu-jitsu gym called Halo Jiu-Jitsu in Fresno, California. He actually would see me at a gym in Fresno. It's called GB3. It's one of those commercialized gyms, you know, sauna and all the cute stuff.
Like a fitness type gyms where you're talking about? Yep. Okay.
So I would go there and I'd be lifting weights, and I was a big guy.
Big fella.
I was lifting heavy, so I felt really good about myself. Like I'm strong. Like that was my benchmark. Like that was strength to me.
Sounds familiar.
And he would just come in. Every time he would see me, he'd just be like, "Hey man, you would love jiu-jitsu." I didn't understand it. Like I literally blew him off like 3-4 times. Like, I don't need this fucking karate. What the fuck I need karate for?
That's like me with the high school wrestling coaches that I blew off all 4 years. Same thing. I'm big and strong. What do I need to wrestle for?
I don't need this. This don't apply to me. Like I can lift. I can bench 225 10 times. What do I need this for? I can defend I can fight. Like you mentally tell yourself like I'm strong, so I can fight. Like
I'm strong, and I've watched action movies where there's
I've watched
fight
plenty
scenes.
of anime. Like I know if I really wanted to, I could like dodge the punch the last second and get the KO blow. So one day I decided I'm a humor this guy. Like I'm a show up. So he invited me to a class, and I remember it. And I remember the guy who beat my ass, because now he just opened up a gym in Fresno himself. His name is Jeff Shields. When I met him, he was a purple belt. He's now a black belt. And I remember he's like, "Oh, I'm just starting his guard." I don't know what the fuck a guard is. This guy wants to wrap his legs around me. I'm about to kill him.
Okay,
Watch.
yeah, all right.
And I just remember in a span of like 20, 30 seconds, I got armbarred 3 times in a row from the guard in 3 different ways. Like just set up 3 different ways, and it hurt. I was like, oh, that shit hurt. Like, you know, you try and use your strength to hold back the armbar. Tense up, it hurts you even more.
Makes it worse.
And I just remember like that was the beginning of the journey, because it was like after that happened, I was hooked. I was like, oh, I'm a bitch. Like, I need to learn this immediately, because now that's when I started learning about ears. I started learning about cauliflower ear, and I started, there's levels to you know, how much people know. I wasn't as tough as I necessarily thought I was, and you know,
kind of the classic tale, frankly. You think so good of yourself until somebody handles you. You
definitely have that clarity where you're humbled, and I got that, and then I got the bug, and I was in class every single day, and then my mindset changed about health and wellness, and I was like, I'm really big. I don't want to. And I throughout the past few years, my body has gone through different phases. I lose a shit ton of weight, and then I'm really slim for a while. Then, you know, I go through a traumatic instance in my life, and I gain 20, 30 pounds. So it's like this up and down, and you got to find this happy medium where you're happy with yourself. And that's definitely been challenging for sure.
Jiu-Jitsu is a centering tool in that regard, though.
Jiu-Jitsu for me is my main form of therapy. Like, and I've tried talk therapy, and that, you know, everybody has their own way of venting, and I feel like jiu-jitsu is my way of being able to vent and be creative and, you know, get my stress out of my system. Like, I'm at the point in my life where if I miss a day of jiu-jitsu, my day doesn't feel good. My body doesn't feel good. I almost feel guilty.
Yeah.
Rest days are hard.
Yeah, can relate to it for sure. I do like my rest days, though, I'll admit. So when you landed here, Minnesota, sounds like, in Alliance, what rank were we at? Just for
I came down as a brown belt. So after I started my journey up to purple belt with Angel at Halo Jiu-Jitsu, and then I moved from Fresno to Visalia, California, which was 45 minutes away, and that's where I met Tom Knox. He's under Kleber Luciano.
Okay.
He was actually a really good skateboarder. I didn't realize that he was like really popular in the skateboard world.
Sure.
Like really like he was that guy.
Yeah.
But then he was just like, I'm gonna be a badass jiu-jitsu guy, and he was killing people and just doing what he does.
People that are good at stuff are usually good at stuff. Like, it's not usually it's one thing. They always got this other thing in the pocket.
It's like consistent. Like, so I started training with him as a purple belt, and then he promoted me to brown. And at that point, it's funny little side story. We have a black belt here. His name is Oscar Hip. Big 6'5", 230-pound monster.
Nightmare. That's a nightmare.
Yeah, he's just a nightmare for everybody. He leaves everybody with nightmares when he comes in. And I met him in California because he was stationed out there, and he was training at Elite Team where I met Tom Knox. And so I met him, and he originally trained here. So when I moved out here, Tom was actually the one who was like, hey, Oscar has a gym where you were at. You should go over there. And he was the one who connected me to Damien.
Yeah.
And I messaged him before I got out here. I was like, hey, I'm coming out here. And he said, just come in.
Yeah, come train.
I came in and I trained with the guys. And in that back corner over there, you can't see it from here because it's really tiny. There's a little sticker back there that's says Jurassic Park.
Okay.
That is where all the big fucks go.
Okay.
So all the big guys go to Jurassic Park in the back corner.
I like that.
And they sent me to Jurassic Park, and they were like, it's not like we don't have enough big guys, right? So that's where I was at.
Nice. So when was that? When did you land here?
That was 2 years ago now.
So pretty well established here now, huh? I heard the people. I'm gonna jump us around a little bit. I heard the guys coming in congratulating you. You had a good weekend this past weekend? So
I did the Boston International Open, and I took quad gold this weekend. It was the funny enough, good and bad story. So prior to this, I did the Chicago Open. I won my division, and then I did the Absolute, and I fell short in the Absolute, so I got 1 gold and 1 silver.
Yep.
So I felt good. Tournament was good.
Very good. That's good.
Then the week after that, there was like a break in between, and then there was a tournament at Fuji recently. I didn't get to train the way I wanted. Just had a bad eating week. I kind of came in and was like not feeling like 100%. I did the division that I was in, and I won my first match, and it wasn't pretty. It was just like I just got out by the skin of my teeth, and I was like, wow, like that was trash. And then like I did my second match, and I was doing good at the beginning. I was up points. I was on top. I did some stupid shit, ended up on the bottom. I ended up losing the match, and it really like bothered me. And the next week, which was last weekend, was Boston. Like, so that whole week I just focused on, hey, you're going to try and train as much as you can, try to eat as good as you can, try and get as much sleep, and do what you do. And I went on with this whole different type of mindset, focus. Like, so my 2 older children, they live in Massachusetts, so I actually picked them up for this tournament.
Nice.
And I remember my son Jackson, he kept asking me, he said, you know, are you scared to go against these guys? And I'm like, no, because I'm going to win. And he goes, Dad, how do you know that? I was like, because I've already put it out there that I'm going to win. Like, in my head, I'm like, there's no way I'm fucking losing in front of my son and my daughter.
Yeah.
So I went out there. I remember my daughter was like, this is boring because they had to wait around.
Yeah.
So
They're right. She's right.
So you wait around for a whole bunch of hours.
Yep.
So my son was like, I want to stay with you. So he got to see my ultra heavy match. And like I walk onto the mats and I see him and like, I give him the eye, like, watch what I'm going to do. Like, and for me, the first match to me is always the hardest because that's the nerve breaker.
Yeah.
Like, you're either going to do really good or you're going to do really bad. So
it's going to set the tone for the rest of the day. Yeah.
So I went in there with this mindset where I go in, I'm going to do this match, I'm going to win. The way I put it in my head for this tournament was, this is a weekend roll. This is an open mat. I'm not going to put too much on it. I'm going to go in. This is my weekend roll. I haven't rolled today. I'm good. So I got in there and I did exactly what I do. I tried to do some creative stuff where I tried to jump the guy's back. I was trying to do like cute extra stuff to like sell it and make myself look really good. But I eventually won that match 7-2. And I remember because my son came up to me after when he saw I was off the mats, and he goes, Dad, I thought you were a goner when that guy was on top of you, because I started playing half guard into deep half.
Yep.
And I was like, nah, play it off. I'm like, that guy was kind of heavy, but,
he doesn't know you're actually winning. You're running the show down there.
It's like, I've been practicing with Pei. Pei just recently came to us from Brazil, and he does a lot of half and deep half. And I've always played it, but there have been things that he's been like able to identify and be like, you're fucking up here. Let's clean this up.
Right.
And, I've been able to capitalize and learn from that. And I've been using that, and that actually took me to victory in my division. And then I did the absolute after that. And I was like, okay, I looked at the division. There were like 4 or 5 people in there. I'm like, okay, I'm the only ultra heavy. I'm like, I better not lose, right? Like, I'm the biggest guy.
Yeah, you're supposed to win.
And so I was like, so it was funny because I had 2 matches, and I ran through those matches pretty good. I didn't get subs like this. I didn't get any subs this weekend. So this weekend for me was purely strategy. Like, I get a position. I wasn't going to force a sub because I had found that when I try to force subs, I open up and I cause myself problems. So I went in there and I was like, I'm going to win by using my brain. And if I get a position, I'm going to cook someone. And if the sub shows itself, I'm going to go for it. I ended up winning by points. And I remember the absolute final. I didn't notice until after I looked up the guy's name. He was either a medium heavy or a super heavy. Don't quote me, but he was a really, really good opponent. Like, he was actually ranked number 1 in his division. I found this out after.
Good.
So
good, right? Don't know that going in.
Well, I was like, all right, I got this whole game plan. I talked to my team because they were like, just run your fucking game. Like, do your thing. And as soon as I ran my game, so I pulled guard, and it was half demoralizing, but like kind of like that clarification moment. So I pulled guard, and I hear his coach said, that's what you want. That's what you want. And the guy just got really fast and starts toreandoing my legs back and forth. And I'm like, holy shit, like, he's not even giving me a chance to set up my game. So we had this big back and forth scramble in this final where he's just trying to pass me super aggressive. And I'm able to get a position where I pretty much sweep him. Like, I go into like half, and it got confusing, and I deep half, and I swept, and I was like, all right, I'm on top. Now I can kind of cook. And then as the time started dwindling down, like, we kept getting into these scrambles. I'm a big guy. Like, when my gi opens up, you see my gut come out, right? Like, it's nothing sexy.
Yeah.
This guy gi comes out. He's a fucking Greek god, like fucking pecs and six pack. I'm like, this guy has more of a tank than I do.
Tank for
like,
sure.
So I'm like, I literally have to do like strategy because I don't want to gas out and give up position. And there were a few times where I got in positions where I was like, I'm fucked. But I was able to recover, and I won the day. That's all.
Bottom line, right? Yeah, it's kind of cool though. I'm assuming if there's video, it's an awesome match to watch because you have one guy's game plan matching up perfectly with another guy's game plan, and it just becomes a track meet. You know?
I got videos of every single one of my matches, and I told them, the guys who recorded them that were with me, like good, bad, or indifferent, I need these videos because when I come back, I need to sit down with the guys who are with me, our competition team, and we need to go over this so that we can pick through, all right, this is where you're making the mistake.
Yeah.
And I mean, I made a shit ton of mistakes. Like,
of course.
I was getting screamed at about it was like, yo, today I forgot somehow how to do shoulder pressure and how to turn someone's face. I'm being super light. And it's like, I shouldn't be doing that. So those are the things that I can clean up on and, fix up.
Yeah. What an amazing tool, though, video. Like, the whole point of competition is to come back to the lab and study what happened. So then being able to watch it over and over, like, that's amazing. You fill the gaps immediately if you want to.
Yeah. And then I think the coolest thing about the tournament was that Alliance had a really big presence at the tournament. So we had the guys who came from Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. We had Alliance Framingham, which I believe is how you say it. They're from Boston.
So. Yep.
And then we had Alliance San Diego, and it was all these like really stud Brazilian, like well-known people. I was like, oh wow, I've seen these guys in highlight videos.
Yeah.
So when I was in my final match in Nogi, I was like, my division is Master 2, so it's not super like impressive, but having all those guys there screaming, like, I never had that type of presence before. So it was like really intense and like just really nice to have all those people like rooting for you, like win that shit, like, and take it home, and then you get your hand raised.
Yeah, something about that chant that they do in Portuguese.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're saying, but it works. It's like a rugby haka. You're like, yes, let's go.
Get me hyped. But just listening to the coaches and fighting through, like, it worked out, and I did something that I don't know if a lot of people accomplish it. Like, I've been trying to. I don't think I've ever got this many gold medals before. Like,
it's a banner competition for you.
Yeah, like I've been competing since I was a blue belt, and I didn't really do good in competition. I didn't really perform very well. So for me to be where I'm at now with the shit that I have faced within the last year, I think I'm doing all right.
I dig it. Is the shit in the last year the thing we're talking about?
It is the thing that we're talking about.
Tell me about it.
So most people who roll with me do not know that I have a heart disease. The heart disease that I have, it's a very long name, so we're going to say the name, and then I'm just going to give you the abbreviations.
For sure.
I have hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy. Just say that 3 times fast, and I'll give you a cookie. HOCM for short, HOCM. Basically, what that means is that, it's my heart grew too big.
Yeah.
In the center of my heart, the septum, the meat in between that grew too thick. And what happens with that is when you have a big heart, I mean, don't listen to any fucking Disney movie when they tell you that you want to grow your heart 2 times bigger because it's bullshit. Because when you do that, you fucking like complicate your life. So it actually caused problems in the electrical system in my heart. I've had problems with my heart since I was about 16.
So you've known about this for a long time.
I knew about it. That's when I first found out about it.
It's not like the college basketball players that fall over and they realize, we never knew.
So that is exactly what my heart disease is.
Yep.
And nice way to preface that, because that's fucking exactly what happened here at Alliance. So lucky for me, I have an ICD implant in my chest. A lot of people don't know that. Some people notice it. At the tournament in Chicago, I had taken off my gi after my match, and a group of ladies had seen me, and they like, come here. And they were like, my husband has a device. I can see you have one.
Yeah.
I told him you were competing, and I eventually like connected with the husband, and because he was like, can you compete?
Yeah.
I'm like,
is this real?
I'm like, if you want, like,
I'm not your doctor.
I'm not a doctor. I don't want you to sue me for bad advice.
Right.
So I got my first device when I was 22, and the reason I got the device at that point was they were always monitoring me because they knew I had this disease. I went in for a stress test. So for those that don't know, a stress test when you have a heart disease, they put you on a treadmill and they stick a whole bunch of little stickies on you, and you run for like 10, 15 minutes. You start with a jog, and they eventually start inclining you. And what they're looking for is to see, as your heart rate elevates, how your heart is beating. Like, are there problems when it's beating? Are there arrhythmias happening? So that particular day, I ran the whole 15 minutes and I was fine. And I just remember sitting down, and I'm very sensitive to my heart rhythm. So I know when my heart isn't beating right. I know when I'm having different types of arrhythmias. So PVCs, and so PVCs are premature ventricular contractions. They're super harmless, but they make you feel like shit. So I'm very sensitive to that type of stuff. So I was sitting on the bed as my heart rate was slowing down, and I felt like a really bad, like, I can only describe it as a snap. It felt like my heart skipped really bad. And I looked up at the screen before it happened. I said, oh, there's one. And it was green lines. And then when that one arrhythmia happened, it went from triangles and it went to one big rectangle. And I remember the screen turning red.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, he's about to go into SVT. So SVT is supraventricular tachycardia. For anyone who doesn't know what that means.
Nobody knows what that means. So yeah,
that is very fast heart rate. So my heart rate probably shot up to 180, 190 beats per minute while I was sitting there.
Sitting down in a heart rate recovery phase.
Yes.
It should be going down.
Correct.
Yeah.
The fear was because I was having SVT on a normal basis where we could be having a conversation and I'll get that snap and, hey, I'm at 180 beats. And you don't know that that's happening, but I do. And I'm sitting here breathing through it. And for a long time before, the incident had happened in the hospital, I just thought I was just an anxious person. I was having anxiety.
Yeah.
And they were like, nah, like, this is some shit that could really kill you. Yeah. And I didn't really believe it, but I remember I'm sitting there and I'm going through this arrhythmia stage. My heart rate's up to 180. It keeps going up. And right now we're sitting there and we're at 5 minutes straight of it just being fast. And I'm like, I'm over here trying to breathe through it. It's not helping. So I'm just like, we're all connected. Like, I'm talking to doctors real candid. Like, anybody going to give me some medication? Maybe a little shot, slow this down? They're like, nope, you got to go through this. Don't worry, we're bringing the crash car. I said, what the fuck is a crash car? I've heard that term on House. That's not good. Like,
never
that's
good.
So they're like, don't worry. Don't worry. We have paddles just in case. In case of what?
Yeah.
Like, what is going to happen?
Right.
Now I'm mixing the SVT with actual, anxiety.
Yeah, panic.
So now I'm panicking.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and I think the episode lasted probably like 10, 15 minutes. Just straight.
No way.
I was fucking. It
It's
was
giving
like,
me anxiety. No way. No way.
So I remember the doctor like, yo, listen, we saw enough to recommend that you don't leave this hospital till you get this device implanted.
Wow.
And here are the reasons why. And they explained, hey, SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, can turn into VT, which is ventricular tachycardia, which is very, very, very bad.
Yeah.
So at 22, I sat there. I cried a little bit because I was scared to death.
Literally.
And they performed, I remember they performed it while I was half awake. I remember being awake, and I was looking, I was like, because those surgery rooms, they're really cold. So I'm like teeth chattering, but I'm also like panicking. They were like, oh yeah, like your heart rate's a little elevated. And this was the time they wanted to give me something. So they're like, don't worry, we got a nice little cocktail for you. And I remember them hitting the needle into that IV, and the ceiling started moving and everything was fine. I was just like, okay, this is cool. And I remember looking at the screen. So the weirdest part of the procedure is like you feel them tugging your skin. So my device is on the upper left part of my chest. So they do an incision and they insert it in a pocket in your chest, but you feel them like tugging to open.
Ugh.
And I was just like, but there's no, you're numb to it at
It's
that
not pain.
point. It's not pain.
Yeah.
It's just you feel someone tug. I remember the only uncomfortable part was I remember seeing them putting I have 2 wires in my heart. And I remember seeing them starting to place the wires because they have it on a screen. And they're like, Chris, we're putting the wire right here. How does that feel? And wherever they put it, I was like, ooh, that's fucking uncomfortable. Like, I don't like whatever you're doing. And they're like, don't worry, we're going to move it back. And I was like, that's fucking scary. And then eventually they were like, all right, everything's in. We're going to put you to sleep so we can shock you now just to test it. And I remember just being like, what? And I was sleeping, and then I woke up, and they're like, that works fine.
Jesus.
So
Medicine is wild. Like, thank goodness. But man, that's wild.
So after getting the device, I lived a normal life. I did everything. I kept being athletic. I kept doing jiu-jitsu. And,
nice.
How,
did it take a while to come back to doing stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Did they say lay off for a while?
There's no doctor that's going to tell you, yeah, you should absolutely go and do jiu-jitsu while you have a device in your chest that is trying to save your life while your heart is beating way too fast. Right. So I had to have that, that mental conversation with myself, like, do I just continue on? Because I've had doctors saying, you can't be athletic. Yeah. You have to play golf. You have to fucking, play bingo. And it's like, well, I can either live my life, and just survive it, or live my life and actually live it. Yeah. So, again, I lived a fairly normal life. I didn't like feeling handicapped. That's a big, like, my parents used to make me feel like I was very handicapped because they would want to coddle me. No, don't do this. Yeah. Oh, you can't do that. And it's just like, all I'm trying to do is continue to live.
Yeah. You can't hate on them. They're just worried about their baby boy, but.
And that, even with my parents, that all comes full circle to everything that happened in my life. So, my mother actually passed from the same arrhythmia that I was hit with.
So very probably a congenital connection there.
Yeah. So it was actually a year before. So my mother lived to about 73, but everything that she looking back in hindsight. So talking to my brother who was there when my mother was going through what she was going through. So my brother was trying to resuscitate my mother when she was going through cardiac arrest. So finding out that I went into cardiac arrest and knowing what it felt like is very surreal. And I only found that out after, everything that happened with me. When you're dealing with the death and the grief of your mother, you tend to just focus on that. You don't focus on what had happened. It just happened. I was actually at Akagi training on a Sunday open mat. And I just remember I left the open mat. I looked at my phone and I had 2 text messages from my oldest brother. One was, "You need to call me. Mom's not doing well." And then the next message was, "I'm sorry, Mom's gone." And I just remember the world stopped and I just stopped everything I was doing. I literally sat outside of Akagi crying for a while, and then I started booking itinerary to get down to New York to find out what happened. So a year later, life kind of went through some negatives. So I took my mother's death really hard. I never dealt with grief before. That sent me into depression. That hurt my training. It hurt my eating. It hurt a lot of things. So I started trying to get back into doing jiu-jitsu, being competitive and whatnot. And then, my incident happened. I'm in here doing a Saturday class. I have all my kids at the time with me. So my 2 kids from Massachusetts were here visiting and staying with me. So they were sitting right on those benches in front of us.
They were here in the room.
They were here in the room. And my 2-year-old daughter was also here. So they're watching her. So anybody who knows me and who has trained with me, I come into the training center with my 2-year-old all the time. It's a pain in the ass, but I make it work. I done developed the system. I have the tablet. I show everybody here knows my baby.
Yeah.
So all 3 of my kids are here. It feels like a normal day.
It's a great day, actually. Got all the kids here hanging. That's fun.
I do remember just feeling like an insurmountable amount of stress because of life. There's there's personal matters, there's relationship issues.
Yep.
All that stuff was
heavy
looming.
that day.
It was so it was looming, and I was just like, I'm just gonna train. I just remember I got on the mats and we started with grip breaks. Everything felt normal, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna do takedown drills. Do whatever takedown you want. Just not 100%, So I chose the double leg. So I'm like, okay, did my first double leg, cool, stood up. Second double leg, cool, stood up. Third double leg, stood up, and I immediately just collapsed. I didn't know what was happening. I just fucking fell limp. I just clumped.
Yep.
And my partner at the time, Jim, call him Jim, name is James Hansen. He goes, "Are you okay?" And I remember looking at him because I couldn't move my body. I was like, I don't know, because I didn't. I knew something bad was happening.
Yeah.
I remember because I was halfway across the mat, probably 10, 15 feet away from where we're at right now. And I remember turning my head because that's all I had the energy to do. So I turned my head and I tried to get onto my elbow, and I just looked and I can see my kids. They saw what happened. My son was looking at me. He didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
People thought I was joking.
Yeah.
People thought I was playing Montalvo games, and it was like, I believe that Damien at the time, because when we spoke about it, he thought, oh, well, maybe Chris was diabetic and maybe he just kind of, low blood sugar or something. Maybe
Super common.
Super common.
It's a reasonable guess.
So I collapsed. I sat there for a second. So to say the least, or the most, I was dying, or technically I was dead at that moment, because I went into what's called sudden cardiac arrest. I went into VFib. So I don't know the definition of that one, but I just know that VFib is very fucking bad. That's what VFib stands for me.
Right.
So instead of your heart beating, your heart vibrates. So your heart just spasms. So
It's beyond like an arrhythmia. It's
Yes.
just a completely chaotic.
It's just chaotic. The signals aren't getting back and forth. No blood is flowing at that point, which is why I collapsed. So I'm in this. So it's funny because after everything had happened, I found out that my device sent the therapy shock to reset my heart in 16 seconds. When I tell you, it felt like I was in there for like hours. Like, it was different. It was that life flashing before your eyes, fucking looking at your kids like, oh shit. Like,
Dude.
so the whole time I was waiting for pain, because I had thought, well, if this is happening, I must be having a heart attack. So there's a big misconception between cardiac arrest and heart attack. So heart attack means you have a clog somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't have a clog.
Yeah.
My problem is that my heart just decided not to work and it stopped beating completely. Both really bad, but mine is more in relation to what you had mentioned earlier, where you're a basketball player, you're a football player, you're running, you're completely healthy, and then boom, you fall and you don't wake up, and then nobody knows what happened and you're dead. The lucky side was that my device did shock me within that 16 seconds. Like, so my device is a 2-wire, so it has 2 functions. It has a pacing function. I don't ever use the pacer. And it has the actual defibrillator function. The pacer, they actually told me that the pacer in my device, when it sensed the arrhythmia coming, it tried to pace me out of the arrhythmia first before it shocked me. And when it failed, shocked so that we can reset. At the time of my my arrhythmia, my heart rate, unbeknownst to me, was like 300. I didn't even do no crack, no cocaine. Like,
you didn't get
it
to earn.
It wasn't even fun.
Yeah,
like,
not a good time.
No good time.
Man, that is like, I've experienced a 185, 190. You know, as a younger dude, really pushing fitness stuff. And I mean, you're young and fit and healthy, so it still doesn't feel terrifying. But man, that's a feeling to have a heart rate that high. I can't even imagine what 300 feels like.
It didn't feel like anything at that point.
Yeah, good in a way.
So I will say that being in that moment was there was a real fucking helpless. I never have felt helpless in my life. Like, I've felt every emotion there is, but helpless, and to the point where, like, I can't reach out to my kids right now. Like, I can't explain what's going on. Like, I'm about to die in front of everybody. Like, it was a packed class.
Of course.
Like, today was okay. Like, we had like 50 plus people on the mats.
Right.
So I just remember that feeling of helplessness, and I was like, holy shit, this is death. And I was really like, please, eyes do not close. That's all I was.
Keep the lights on for me, at least.
I was terrified.
Yeah.
So I remember then I got the shock. I was waiting. I didn't, like, everything felt hollow. Like, I didn't. So normally you feel things, everything felt hollow. I felt like I had nothing. And I was just like, this is fucking weird. And I think it's over. But again, I looked for pain, and the pain never came, because I thought, oh, maybe this is a heart attack. It never came. and then I got shocked. So I have felt my device shock me, because when I first got the device, it mistakenly shocked me because it was too sensitive.
Okay.
I felt like I was being mugged. Like, I don't know if you've ever been hit in the face or hit in the head.
It's been a while, but yeah.
But
Thankfully.
you get like a flash. Like,
Yeah.
if you get hit real good, you get a little flash, and you're like, oh shit. That's what it felt like at that point. At this point, when I got shocked, it felt like pure relief. So I don't know if you've ever been put out in jiu-jitsu. Or if you've ever been close where you kind of tap before.
Yeah.
That's what it was, but it was full body.
Yeah.
So I got shocked, and I remember just feeling like someone let go of a choke, and I felt all the blood flow right back through my body. So from going hollow, it felt like everything was moving again. And
Man.
it was one shock, which was nice. I know people who need multiple shocks, people who don't know. So the biggest thing that I learned from this is that most of the time when you go through an arrhythmia, you don't know it happened because you pass out. So I just remember I had the shock. I fucking was like, oh shit, like I can move my limbs again. And I just shot up off the mat, and I stood up, and I just remember sweating, just like fucking beads of sweat. Like the adrenaline was on max. And I've never sweat that crazy. I took my gi top off, and I remember walking across the mats, and I kept telling myself, do not fall. Don't get shocked again.
Yeah.
I hope the fall was the most scary, because it was like I felt nothing. Like it happened.
Yeah.
And I was just fucking a limp noodle, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Seems like a good analogy would be like I've recently had a car that wouldn't hold oil, and we couldn't find the leak, so I just drove it till it literally seized up and exploded. That's your heart attack. Whereas we've all had a car's battery die.
Yeah.
That's what you had, where just everything shut off and it floated to a stop.
Yep. That was pretty much it.
That's wild.
I remember I started walking, and I went to find Damien, and I said, Damien, I need to go to the hospital. My kids were here. I had my truck. I was like, I need an ambulance. I said, I just got shocked. He's like, holy shit, are you all right? I was like, I really don't know. But I was walking around.
Yeah.
I was sweating. I asked one of the black belts, Gil, I said, yo, can you get me an ice pack? Because I wanted to cool down my body, because my body just became really, really hot. So I got on the phone. I called an ambulance. I did not want to let my kids know what had happened, because I could see that my son saw me fall. And when I walked off the mats, he goes, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. So I call everybody I need to call. I call an ambulance. I called my kid's mother at the time. I was like, hey, I need you to get over here and leave work and pick up all the kids. She's like, why? I'm like, well, my device just went off, so I need to go to the hospital right now. And she fucking left work in a panic.
Yeah.
And she came here, and by the time she came here, I was gone. I had called an ambulance. It was a big fucking spectacle, because the ambulance came with like police and fire truck, and they showed up.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
like,
the standard first responder response. They just, whoever gets there first goes, right?
So I'm walking out. I was like, oh, the ambulance is outside. So I'm walking out. They're like pulling out a stretcher, because there's a guy who just got shocked by his device. And I'm like, hey guys, you don't need to even pull that out. I'm right here. They're like, you're the guy?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. They're like, why are you walking?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm just up. Like, take me to the hospital. So they took me in. I had a mixture of anxiety, and I had active SVT. Like, that was just because I got shocked. Like, your body is now in shock. So you're constant. So my heart rate was probably around 140 constant, just uncomfortable.
Very.
So I remember getting taken to the hospital. I think they started an IV on me, and the doctor comes in. They're like, oh, we're gonna, like, everything looked normal by the time I got there. So I had this like moment I guess you can say it's denial, like, because I was just like, it was a fluke. Maybe it was a mistake that my device went off. I was fucking in total denial.
Yeah.
And they came in and they had a device specialist come in and they put a magnet over your chest, and that pulls all the data that it is recording, because it's constantly recording.
Mm-hmm.
And they took all that data. They came back a half an hour later. I remember my kid's mother had finally showed up at the hospital after getting all the kids settled. And that's when the doctor walked in, and he was just like, hey, well, Mr. Montalvo, like, yeah, man, you died today. And I was just like, huh?
I walked to the ambulance. What are you talking about?
What do you mean that I died?
Yeah.
And that's when he broke everything down. He's like, yo, this is what happened. This is what your device did. This is the time in which it did what it did. And you have a problem. So, needless to say, when the guy walked out, I just fucking put my head down and I just fucking cried like a fucking baby. Just like, this is awful, you know, because I sat there like, yo, in front of my kids, like, that's in front of my friends and family. Like, I could have gone into the darkness and never came back, and that would have been it.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting there crying, and after that, like, I stayed in the hospital for 3 days. I had an abundance of people from the gym come and see me, show me support, fucking bring me snacks, books, all types of jiu-jitsu style love.
Yeah.
Because jiu-jitsu is just like this amazing community of people. And I remember I was walking the hallways in the hospital because I was like in the cardiac space of the hospital, and I would walk around with my IV, and the doctors and nurses kept saying, they're like, people don't walk in this ward. And they weren't wrong. Like, every room that I passed, everybody was where I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here. And eventually I did get out of there. And then I went to see a slew of doctors. I fucking got MRI imagery of my heart. I saw every single specialist for arrhythmias, electrical system of the heart, for my specific disease. Like, and you know what sucked about all that? No one fucking had a good answer for why what happened.
Yeah.
I was like, is it because, like, I'm fucking fat? Like, is it because, like, I didn't eat good? Is it because my heart's getting worse? They're like, nah, it's because you have that heart disease. And it's just like, but I've had this heart disease for all these years. This is my second device. I'm on 16 years. So why now?
Because so many things in life are like, oh, this problem came up, and we go 1, 2, 3, and we fix it. So when it's not that,
so it was this. It put me in this space of, like, you just don't know. Like, we don't have an answer for you. We don't know why it happened. The best we got is you have this heart disease, so we knew it could happen. When it can happen, when the fuck it wants to. Like, oh wow, so that's fucking nice.
Sleep good tonight with that information. Yeah.
So I had all these mental battles about it, because I was like, yo, does this mean I have to quit jiu-jitsu now that I've dealt with this? And
now that it got real, like, you had that question before, but then it got real.
So I talked with multiple doctors, and I got mixed reviews, right? Oh, absolutely not. You can't compete. You can't do jiu-jitsu. You can't do this. Then I would get, oh, it's not super bad to do any competition. It's not super bad to, do working out because it's actually good for you.
Yeah, it's a healthy thing to do.
So at the end of it, it was just like I had to make the final decision.
Well, on the other side too, you could stop doing all that, and the same thing could happen.
That's the middle ground, right? Like, I'm just like, so I remember when I made the decision to go back and compete, and I was like, I remember coming back just to roll was like intense. Like, I didn't know
bet.
what was going to happen. For a while, I just had anxiety through rolls, and I would have to stop. And eventually, when I made the executive decision, like I'm gonna go, I have a goal.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Damien, and he was like, "Yo, are you sure?" Like, because that scares anyone. I even told him, like, I was like, I don't want to be like a liability to anybody. Again, that whole feeling of feeling like I'm handicapped kind of was like looming overhead, and I get it from Damien, like, from a business perspective, like, I don't want him to have, like, I went as far as telling him, like, yo, I will sign whatever document I need to sign so that you don't have nothing, no liability over my decision making. I was like, this is something I need to do for me. I was like, if I am to get a black belt, I want to do it in a blaze of fucking glory.
Sure.
I want to do it where I'm legit, because I'm going out there and I'm trying to compete with the best of the best to try and test myself, even with this on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for that moment where I can like pop my gi open and like fucking point at it, like, yeah, what? Yeah, because the fucking buff guys do that shit, right? They're like, show this 6. Well, I don't have a 6, so I just be like, look at the fucking device that beats you. I'm fucking Iron Man. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Like,
yeah, much more impressive.
I think so.
Yeah. How long a break did you end up taking before you even came into roll again?
I'm a hardhead. I came in the very next week.
I had a feeling that was the answer.
So I came in. I remember coming in to the Saturday class the very next week. I was like, I didn't roll, but I showed up.
Okay. Yeah.
I showed up, and I walked in, and the whole class stopped, and they looked, and they just gave me a round of applause.
Nice.
And I was just
that's
like,
fun.
And I remember like the next week, I came back and I started rolling again, and I was like, for any of you like blue belts or anyone who feels like they need to quit over some bitch shit, I was like, just remember this: I died 2 weeks ago, and I came back, and I'm in the class. No excuses. And from there, I just kept doing it, and from that, I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one who deals with this type of shit.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to expand my social media presence so that I can be like, if there are people that deal with something like this, you're not alone. Like, I'm one of those, like, if someone needs to talk or needs a shoulder to cry on, I'm here. Like, because I know what it's fucking like.
Right. And there's hope. You
There's
got
hope.
options, there's hope.
Just listen, I'll just get shocked until the lights go out. But I'm gonna do what I want to do on my terms, because again, I want to live life to live it. I don't want to live life to survive. Like,
sit back and watch it happen.
Yeah, I see people do really cool stuff here. I get to see people compete, and like this weekend, I was one of those guys that went out there and performed well, and I did something that was part of the bucket list. Like, I always wanted to collect 4 gold medals, like, in one tournament, that complete. Now it's like, all right, now I need to take a major. After a major, what's next after that? That always goes up. So it's just like, finding how I'm going to formulate that into my life, and putting in the work to achieve it. It may not come straight on, but I'm going to keep working until I get it.
Probably no better way to finish it than with that.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts.
Think on it for a second. Normally I throw that before I close it. So yeah, whatever you got. Sounded pretty good to me though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in closing, when there's a moment in your life where you think that things are impossible and life is too stressful, and you're dealing with those things that you kind of bottle up, and because I'm known for bottling shit up really well, just know that there's another way. There's another way to get shit done, and you can fucking achieve anything. I mean, it's very cliche, but you can really achieve shit when you put your mind to it. And I showed that to my kids this weekend. Like, I literally went in there without knowing I'm going to win, and I fucking won because I fucking sat there and I told them I'm going to win. That's what I got for you.
Dig it.